Are you looking to tile your outdoor entertaining area but lacking a little knowledge? Then come along with us as we show you everything you need to know so you can do it with confidence. Let's go. Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome back. And if this is your first time to our channel, it's great having you join us. And so finally, waiting after a year, my longtime school friend Louie, who's a professional tiler, is coming to help me tile this concrete area. And for you who've been following my videos, stage one is where I increased the floor space of concrete in this area. And so where I showed how to prepare the ground, how to do the formwork, and also put the steel down and showed the concreters come and concrete the area. And it turned out great. And stage two is where I fixed the ceilings. We had cracks, we had mold growing. In actual fact, we used the wrong paint initially when we built this house, and so we repaired all that. So if you're looking for those videos, I will put a link in the descriptions below. So when you are tiling outdoors, you do have to have a clean concrete. So you need to clean any grease, grime, dirt, and remove it completely. So that way the primer and the glue can stick to the substrate. So I pressure cleaned this area back a few months ago, and then I did it again a couple of days ago, and now it's dry, but there has been a bit of dust settle on here. So I'm going to go through with a blower and just blow everything off and then start the process. So now we're ready to put the primer on. And the primer I'm going to use is Davco Primex. And I've been using this product for years and it's proven to be really good. And so this product is good for fiber cement or steel trowel concrete, which this is. But the concrete can't have any paint or lacquer on it. So you can apply the Primex either by a brush or a roller. I'll be using both today. And it takes around half an hour to dry before you can start gluing your tiles down. And so this product covers around about 8 to 10 square meters per litre. So I'm going to need 2 containers to do this area. And a couple of things to note, if it's over 30 degrees Celsius, you will need to put a bit of water on your concrete before putting the Primex because it will just dry too quickly. And also, it is recommended that you tile no more than 24 hours after putting the Primex on. I forgot to mention, the reason I use Primex because it has 2 times adhesion ability for both tile glue and also membrane compared to traditional primers. Okay, so now we'll get into it and prime the floors. Okay, so I've given the primer plenty of time to dry, and so now I've done the set out. I've placed the tiles to the back row here and then run to the building, see where the tiles end up. So the set out is one of the most important things you've got to do before you start tiling, because you need to know where your tiles are going to end up and if it's going to work or not. And so I've chosen to start the tiles to the back here because if I start from the house this way, there'll be a small cut here and it's going to look pretty ugly and it's going to sit against the trim, and that's not going to be good either. So I want this to go hard up against the trim with a nice edge, and so that way I'll put tiles on the risers up against that trim and it'll look really good. The other reason I'm going this way is because where the concretes all meet each other, so you've got 4 slabs here all tied in together with rods, there is a bit of expansion and contraction, and so where the tiles end up is going to be close to an expansion joint. So I'm actually going to use that as an expansion joint with silicone instead of grouting. So now I'm ready for Louie when he does come in the morning. I'll get him to check the setouts, and if he's happy with that, we'll start tiling. Hey Louie.
Hey, morning, Luce, how you going?
Yeah, good, and yourself?
Good, mate, good.
Good to see you.
Likewise, mate. Keeping well?
Good man. All right, so now you can see we've got the 4 slabs, right?
Yeah.
And they've all been tied into each other, but they're going to be a bit of movement.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
now we can start a full tile from over there,
Yep.
or we can start a full tile from over here.
Okay.
I personally, because we're going to do risers, I'm going to put a trim,
Yep.
I would prefer a full tile. The measurement from the tile to the wall
Yep.
is within 2 millimetres of how I've got this set up.
Okay.
Within 2
Oh, wow,
millimetres.
well, that's
So this
lovely.
is actually your line.
Okay.
All right, so then I ran these tiles to the wall to see how they meet up on the sides.
Okay, yep.
That's a rough idea. I've measured them across to the other side,
Yep.
and we need to move these ones back this way, only 3 millimetre.
You got it?
Yep,
No, that's pretty good, mister.
hang on. Do you think it's okay?
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah. That's pretty good, mister. That's spot on. Yep,
You happy with that?
I'm happy with that, yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. Okay, Louie, ready to go?
Yep.
Just quickly, how long have we known each other?
Since school.
Yeah,
That was
year 8, wasn't it? Year 7?
year 8, yeah, I think it was year 8. So
Yeah.
that's,
So you left school a little earlier because your dad is a tiler and you decided to tile when you were, what, 15? No, 14 years old? 15, yeah. And you've got your son tiling too, Abe.
that's correct.
He's also a tiler.
Yes, correct.
So
yeah.
it's 3 generations.
3 generations, that's right.
Mate,
Yep.
you inspire me, Louie. You're the one who helped teach me, also with my cousin Anthony, who used to work at Davco. And so, you've given me a lot of knowledge over the years.
No problem.
All right, Louie, we'll get into it. Okay, so Louie's going to make the mix now. This is Davco Ultraflex. This is a great product. I've been using it for years, which allows flexibility for the tile to move, and you will get a bit of movement on these slabs. So the mix here is 6 to 8 litres per bag, which is 20 kilos. So what you do here is initially you give it a mix, and then you let it go hard, and then you come back and mix it again after 5 minutes.
That's exactly right.
So you can see Louis made it a wet mix, and then he just adds to it. So it does need to have a bulk to it.
I'm very happy with that consistency there.
Beautiful. That's looking good. Yeah, it does.
Sit for 5 minutes and restir it.
Okay, so now we've got Matthew here. He's going to be stripping these boxes. You can see there's a lot of tiles here. We had to get more than what we needed because we've got some wastage, and also we've got to make the risers for the edge of the slab. Okay, so what we do first, Matthew, if you can just put one box on there, just turn upside down. So these are pretty heavy. They're 32 kilos, I believe. Porcelain tends to be a very heavy product, but the reason we're using porcelain because it is a lot stronger. So basically we just cut the straps off. And so now with the tiles, there is a direction, which is just an arrow going this way. So this one's got 4 sides showing the direction, which is really good. Usually you only have one somewhere in the middle, top or bottom. All right, Matty, I'll just get you to stack it over there and then we can take them over to Louis.
So now it's a bit thicker now.
Yeah.
We'll
It looks a little dry on the top.
Yep.
Okay. So now just remix it again. That looks great, Louis.
Yep. Nice.
That looks really good.
Started, eh?
So Davco recommend that you cover your tile with glue, your adhesive, by 90%, but that's actually in Australian standards as well, through the building codes of Australia.
Yep.
So you don't want any drumming in the tile.
No.
So Louis, what size notch trowel are you using?
This is a 12 mil.
12 mil, okay, great. So when you have concrete that's a little bit up and down, you can either screed the area and make a new surface, which is flatter, or you can do what Louis is doing and you just basically just bulk it out where the highs and lows are. He's using the 12 mil notch trowel because that gives more ability to push the tile down in the high and low areas. And so also with the direction which I showed earlier, so this has a direction, Louis will follow the direction all the way through on this slab. He'll choose a point where it's going to point to, and then he's going to go from that. So you're just back battering this because anything over 600 needs back battering. Beautiful.
Okay.
You've done this before, Louis?
Yeah, a few times. Only for about 40 years now. So the arrows are pointing out that way.
Yep, that's why I'm going to give it to you.
To do it, yep. We'll be using 12 mil.
Yeah. So what Louis got here is the self-leveling device. So what you do is just basically screw on this top, and it wedges it in, and that's done.
We've got our 3 mil.
Okay, so the reason we do put these in is basically to stop any kind of lipping, so we don't have any trip hazards, and it really does work well.
Which way do you want me to pass them? Just like that?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, the arrows there. Yep. Okay. Look at that coverage there.
Oh, it's beautiful coverage. Look at that.
It's almost 100% coverage.
So Louie's lifted the tile up pretty much just so he can put these levelers in. So anyway, he sometimes when you're tiling, you've got a lot to think about, and you can forget about it. So that looks fantastic. So Louie's basically just going to do this row here, the second row, and then come back and do the first row. So we've set that as our straight edge, and then we'll come back to it.
That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Yep.
It's looking good, Louie.
Yep.
So Louie now is just putting a straight edge here just to make sure that the tiles are going pretty straight, and it's looking brilliant. That's looking good. And the highs and lows of this concrete, it's actually not too bad. I'm actually quite impressed with it.
It's not too bad, yeah.
So if you are looking for a concreter, I'll put a link below for Jason, who did the screeding here with his boys, and he does a great job. These self-levelers are fantastic. It makes your life so much easier.
It certainly does, yeah. It makes the job look so much nicer as well. Slide it over a bit.
That is seriously good. So you really do know what you're doing, Louie?
Sometimes I make it look like I know what I'm doing. You know?
This is going really well.
Yep.
And the shades come across just to give us a bit of protection from the sun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, it's getting hot, eh?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and they're predicting a hotter day tomorrow. Sorry about that, Louie.
Ah, well, you can't pick the weather, can you?
And I noticed, Louie, that you're actually purposely making some spots higher than other spots, because you can actually see the low and high spots, can't you?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
You get a feel of it.
And that's, experience gives you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're getting through it now. It takes a while to set this up, but once you get into it, it actually becomes a lot easier, eh?
Yeah, you get a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah. So when you do get tiles, you'll get some either silicone or some film of like a foam to protect the tiles when they're being transported and handled. So you do have to remove those. Now we're up to the expansion joint. And as I said, I'm going to put a silicone joint there. Okay, Elias, another one coming. You're doing well, Louie. Marrying in 2 slabs is never, ever easy.
No.
But saying that, I'm going to say it again. Jason did a great job.
He did, yeah.
Wow, that's really good, Louie. Okay, so we're finished for today. I'll leave you for 5 minutes. Look what you've done.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Wow, you started very early, huh?
Yeah, early today, yeah.
So do you mind if I take off all the floor levelers now? I'll take all the...
Right there, mate.
Ah, beautiful. Thanks, Louie. Okay, so Louie tells me all you got to do is just tap them on the sides and they break. And there we go. It's pretty easy. So I haven't had much experience with these levelers, but they're a brilliant little tool. And so what you do, once you do knock them off, you then twist this section back off and you can reuse these. So you basically got to hit them in the direction that they've been put in. So you can see the directions this way. So you just tap them on the side like that. Louie tells me that there's a few different companies that make them. This particular one is Progress Profiles, and Louie's been using them for a while, and he prefers these ones. And if you are interested, I will put a link below for them. So we've come to the edge of the building. So now we're just going to measure it off. So you're allowing the joint here and the 5 mil down the back, yeah?
Correct, yeah.
Just to give it a bit of space. And the concrete's sticking out just a little bit, which is a bit annoying. So is there a bit of a taper to it?
Just a little bit of 3 mil from there to there.
So Louie, this Sigma cutter you've got, I've got the one that's slightly different, doesn't have this round section.
Oh, okay.
But they're fantastic. They're probably the best in the world, eh?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How long have you had this one for?
I've had this one for a while. At least 15, 16 years now.
Okay. Yeah, I've had mine for probably about 10 years.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I haven't used it much, but it's brilliant.
No,
and I have the smaller version, but you probably got a really big one, eh?
I've got a 95 centimetre. This is a 65.
Yep.
I got a 95.
Yeah.
And I got
then a small one.
one.
Yeah. So Louie, I noticed when I was taking the other levelers off,
Yes.
that some of these were slightly twisted. So there's a limit how much you can tighten these, isn't there?
Correct, yes. Yes.
So how much can you tighten them?
You get
And
a
what
foot-
happens if you over tighten them?
It can snap.
Ah, that's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens sometimes, but if
Yeah.
you get the tile as close as you can
Yep.
before you put it on,
Yep.
you don't have to then tighten it too much.
Yeah, that's correct.
Usually there's too much lippage.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're trying to push the whole tile.
Yeah,
that's when
yeah.
it gets a bit
And
tight.
also, I noticed that some of the tiles have pushed away a little bit. I mean, that's probably a normal thing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you
So-
tighten it, they do move.
They move a bit, yeah, so you gotta
Sometimes
pull them in
can-
tight, don't you? Yeah,
correct,
Okay.
And also the good thing about these is sometimes you lay tiles nice. If you're not using these
Yep.
leveling systems,
Yeah.
sometimes you get the tile perfect.
Yeah. And then the glue dries and it
That's
pushes.
right.
Yeah.
They don't all when the glue shrinks.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That's because you have to pack up some areas, yeah?
correct.
Yeah, so when you pack in the higher areas, they're more likely to sink, yeah?
Correct. Yeah. Sometimes some tiles you push them really tight. The other one not
Yeah,
as much.
not as much.
So then it's got a chance of
Yeah.
sinking a little bit more. So these lock them in place until the glue dries, and then that's
Yeah, beautiful. So you put a mark on the outside so you know the width.
I put the mark here
Beautiful.
so that I can get.
And
the
so you can
outside.
actually take up measurements off.
Yeah, that's correct.
So this one obviously is going to be a grinder cut. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the tile. Louie's given me the permission to do it, and he trusts me. I'm not sure why. So when you are cutting any kind of tiles or concrete, it does create a lot of dust, and one of the biggest killers in the building trade is silicosis. So when you are cutting regularly, you should really wear a mask. So I'm going to put this on now. One thing also, we have two different grinders here. Most of my power tools are actually Bosch. And now this one here is Louie's, and it's a 125 size blade. Now, I actually use a 100 mil. This is a Makita. For whatever reason, I feel this one's better for me. Okay, there we go. That looks great, Louie.
And there we have it.
Okay, so if you are using levelers, you're going to find where the leveler was, there's going to be a little bit of glue. Now, while that's still soft to a degree, you've got to get that out. So I'm just going to use a Stanley knife to clean it out, and I'm going to go around everywhere and just clean them out. And that way we're ready for grouting as well. And even if you're not using levelers, you do need to go around and just clean out your grout joints. Louie, that's looking fantastic, eh?
Yeah,
That's going really well.
Yep.
You haven't had any problems with the concrete going too high or too low, eh?
It's probably one of the best concrete jobs I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Wow, Louie, we're coming to the last corner. So I'll cut the circle out. Hope it fits.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, beautiful. That's fantastic. Okay, so what Louie's doing here, we made a template earlier, and so now he's going to mark around the penetration. That's looking brilliant, Louie. Last piece, woohoo. Louie, this turned out fantastic. I love it. And Arabi loves it too.
Awesome.
Mate, this is a good job. Seriously, everything just turned out beautiful. It's been great having you here, not just for the tiling, Louie, but also for the bantering.
No
Mate,
problem.
seriously, I miss it. You're a good man, Louie.
No worries, miss. You're welcome.
Thanks very much. This looks fantastic. I'll take all these off tomorrow morning and I'll put them on the side for you.
Fantastic. That'd be great.
Great.
No worries, miss.
Thanks, Louie. So the next thing I've got to do is just do the risers and grout it, and this is ready for the next stage.
Awesome.
Thanks, Louie. I've had a bit of a break, but now I'm back into it. And today looks like it's going to be a nice, cooler day. It's a bit overcast at the moment, but it will start to get a bit more sunnier in a short while. So now I'm going to put these trims on. Now, Louie prefers me to put them on because I am a little bit pedantic. I do a miter on the edges when they meet. Most tilers just butt up their trims. In preparation to putting these trims and tile risers on, first you've got to make sure, you've got to measure everywhere to make sure that's going to fit. The tile's going to fit in comfortably. And there were 3 spots that the concrete was bulging. Now, that tends to happen happen with formwork. You can never get it perfect. So then I've gone through and grinded this side, that side over there, and just on the other end of that side. So, and it took a bit of work, I've got to tell you, because it was bulging probably about 5 mil in some spots. And other spots, it's actually recessed a bit more, just like here. But that's fine, it just means I need more glue. And once I finished grinding, I went through and re-primed all the edges because it is recommended that you don't leave it any more than 24 hours. When you are putting trims on, you've got to make sure the glue's not going to be in the way from underneath, because the trims have to go inside. So it didn't fit properly, so I just went through with the grinder and just cleared out that glue, and now it's sitting in beautifully. And the reason we do put these trims, because it finishes the edge off and it's less chance for the tile to crack or to chip it away when people are walking on it, or if you're rolling anything on top of it. Okay, so now I'll get into it. I've already mixed the glue. I waited 5 minutes and I've mixed it again. I've already cut the tile. The tile itself, I'm not gonna make taper. The ground does taper down. I'm just gonna make it one straight size. Now the reason being, I'm gonna put more dirt here later and taper the ground going the other way so the water doesn't sit against the tile or the concrete. And I've also cut the trim at 45-degree angle, so that's ready to go. Okay, so this is the first piece. Now I'm only using a 5 mil notch trowel because I had to grind a lot here and it's really, really close. So I'm not gonna push my luck, and we'll try that on now. So basically I'm just gonna use anything I can find to prop up the low end. Beautiful. So this is going to be the hardest piece, but it's looking really good. And the level's spot on. I'm really happy with that. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so now I'm just going to put some painter's tape on here just to hold that trim in place and just keep it looking good. That's nice there, and that's nice there. Beautiful. And this 45 will meet beautifully. Okay, so now I'll just leave that like that. So then we get the other piece, and this will sit basically just on here like that, and that sits beautifully. This is looking brilliant. I'm very happy about this, but there's a long way to go, so I'll keep going. Okay, so this side's almost done. I'm very happy about that. Now, one thing I didn't mention before, when you put trims in, you do actually have to put glue under them, so I didn't show that. So all you do is just basically just use a spatula and just spatula that in. I wouldn't do it before that because you won't move fast enough and the glue will dry too quickly by the time you get to it. So just do this as you're going along and fill it up as much as you can. Now this is the crucial bit here. This is my second trim. They're only 3 meters long. And so here, I'm gonna have to put some glue from the top. Now it's gonna make a mess. It's gonna make a huge mess, but I will have to clean it off as I go. All right, so that's in. Now, just using the sponge, I'll have to sponge it off pretty quickly and just clean it off the cement so it doesn't look ugly. Okay, so I've cut the trim. I decided to do this now. So you've got to be careful when you do put the trim in. You're going to find there's glue in that corner. I couldn't grind it out, so I've cut a little piece out of this. So now, all I'm going to do, same as before. Okay, so I've got plenty of glue in there. So now I'll just push this through. Okay, and just sit that in place. Okay, and that's it there. So now I'll just quickly wipe this off. Okay, so there is a 12 mil step here. Could be a bit of a trip hazard. In the future, I will put a piece of timber here, a tapered piece. I'll treat it, paint it so it doesn't deteriorate, and just to reduce the chance of anyone tripping. Okay. Now that's complete. This side's done. Just got to do the other two sides. These tile risers are looking fantastic. I'm very happy with it. And that mitered corner has turned out great. But the only problem is now we're coming to a recessed section. This here is too far in, which means we need to put a lot of glue. So what I'm going to do here is actually build it up before I put the tiles on. So make sure you're going to bulk it up. Just putting glue here and just lift it up a bit. Okay, so I'm past the worst area, so it's got a bit more here, and then I'll just let it dry. Okay, so I've used up a fair amount of glue, but I've filled it up a fair amount. Okay, so I've let it dry for a few hours, and you can see the light areas where it's drying nicely. The dark areas is because it's a little bit thicker. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue on. I've cut a few pieces of these tiles just so I can go one row very quickly. So now I'll just batter this one up. All right, let's get this thing in place. Oh, beautiful. This is really coming together now. I've only got this section to go and I'm finished. Luckily I did render that side, because once I rendered it, I was able to tile very quickly. And just here, where I grinded, that was perfect. I didn't have to put much glue at all. So this is really coming together beautifully. Okay, I'm going to put the trims in now. So they've both been cut on a 45-degree angle, just like the other side, and they meet in beautifully. Now, this particular brand is Roberts, and so far it's working pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. So I'll just put that in place, put a sticky tape just to hold it temporarily. Beautiful. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so we're almost there now. Only got a couple of more pieces on the other end, but I'm coming back to this side just to finish here off. That has come out pretty straight, so now I know there's a slight taper on this, only 1 mil. Done. This is finished. Okay, so the next thing now, I'll just let this dry, and then I'm going to grout the floor. After a couple of days of rain, we're now ready to do the grouting. So I've taken off all the sticky tape around the edges that was holding the trim together, and all the wedges. Now with the grout, I'm going to be using sand and cement. Okay, so because it's outdoors, I want something a bit more sturdy. So this is just a normal building cement, and this is a washed Sydney sand. Now the reason I'm using washed Sydney sand, because it's a very fine sand, and it's really good for grout. But you've got to be careful if you're using any sand that's from the sea. You've got to wash out the salt. I'll also be using an additive. So this is a Dunlop primer, which can be used for tiles. It just gives it a bit more strength to hold together. So the mix here I'm going to be doing is 1 part sand, 1 part cement. So you can see that sand is very fine. And this sand is an off-white sand. So mix this well before you add the water, just to get a good consistency. You don't want any lumps in it. Okay, so now I'll just add a little bit of water. Definitely not too much. I'll do it with this sponge. Okay, so I'll wet the sponge and just squeeze that in. Just a little bit at a time. Okay, so the consistency I'm looking for is a flowing consistency, but not runny. Okay, so I'm making sure that I get it all down the bottom. Scoop it all up. I don't want any dry bits down there. And this is looking really good. So it is advisable to wear gloves when you're doing anything with cement, because it will damage your hands. It's not going to be good for your skin. Okay, so to apply the grout, I'm going to be using the grout sponge applicator. So this has got a rubber base, and it just helps you get in the corners. And when you do it, you go on an angle to get that, or get all the bubbles out. If you are grouting outdoors in the open, that you do it on a day where you know it's not going to rain, at least for a couple of days, and if it's not too hot as well, because you don't want this to dry too quick. Okay, I've run out of grout. Now I'll go through and just wipe off all the residue. And I remember that this is going to be an expansion joint, so I didn't put any grout in here, and I've just gone through and just quickly cleaned out the joint. Okay, so now we'll just wipe off all the residue. I use a big wide sponge. So this is a probably about a 300 by 200 roughly. And all I do is just wipe the edges, and then I just slide this across. got to do is from this line here back to the house. And I've got to say, I forgot how hard this was, especially with my spinal condition. This has taken a lot longer than I expected. Anyway, I'll get into it. It's done. Now I just let it dry. Stage 3 of the alfresco upgrade is now complete thanks to Louie, and it looks amazing. So all I've got to do now is place some silicone in the expansion joint, and I will be using Sika products as well as the parameters. So if you like, I'll put a link for Sika Davco in the descriptions below, just in case you want to know more about their products. I'll also place Louie's details in the descriptions below if you're looking for a really good tiler, but remember, you could be waiting up to a year if you can wait. Not to forget about Jason the concreter. I'll place his details in the descriptions below as well. One thing to note, when you do grout your floor, you will have residue. Now this grout is now dry, so now I'm going to go through and mop the floor using just hot water and some vinegar. So stage 4 of the alfresco upgrade is where we're going to put a straight drop awning in against the beam, a zip screen to close off this room, so that way we can use it in winter time, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you have any comments at all, please leave them below and I will get back to you. And I'd ask you, please consider to subscribe, hit the like button and share this video, and there's many more to come. Thanks guys.
Am I dressed all right, or you?
That's beautiful. You're dressed like a tiler.
I don't wear high vis and things like that, so.
Hey, you got boots on.
I'll just put them on now, yeah.
Yeah. So you've dressed up for the occasion.
That's right, yeah. No, I have been wearing them lately, yeah. Most of the time. Most of the time.
All right, so now I'll just explain to you. The video is going.
Okay, okay.
So now, yeah, Matthew walks out of the video.
That's all right. I prefer Elias to Louie.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nah.
I prefer Elias, to be honest with you.
Is that right?
Yeah. But,
so you're a real ethnic?
I'm a real wog, yeah.
Oh, wow. See, some people around the world won't know what a wog is.
Yeah.
I think the Americans call it a wop.
A wog? Okay.
I think.
Right, that's how you're rolling.
Rolling. Is that an 80s term as well?
You know, so is that how you roll, is it? The funny thing is, you pretend like you were born in the 2000s or something.
You know what? Honestly, I'm only 1 year younger, or just less than 1 year younger than you. But
Less than 1 year.
That's not the point. The point is, I've let go of the 80s.
Well,
You're stuck in the 80s. I know. I can't get it, man. I can't get it because I'm too. How can you say? Frustrated.
You got to keep covering up for all your mistakes.
Louie, you mix too much, man.
Yeah, well, suck it up, man. All right, mate. Knock yourself out.
Shouldn't I just cut it?
Yeah, and then knock yourself out.